You're such an asshole.
This one's on the house. Very rarely do I do charity because I believe most charity is bullshit. It doesn't work. But every once in a while there is a genuine need for charity. And so a guy wrote in, and I also can't charge him because I'm not disabled. So I can't really speak from knowledge. So I can only give you as far as my logic takes me. And with my very cunning asshole skills, but so I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll just do this one's on the house. Hi, Mr. Clary. No video required. He did want a video in the end, though. The situation with my disability is so unique. I don't know if it has. Oh, here we go. I don't know if it would help your viewers. Is anything worth doing if you have nothing to do? Are you going to charge me a disability discount or a welfare tax? No. If you're fully competent, like, oh, I have social anxiety and I grew up in Winnetka. My dad didn't get me a BMW. He just got me a Ford. It's like, yeah, there's a huge welfare tax there. There's like a douchebag tax and a spoiled little suburbanite brat tax. Your disability is very genuine and real. It is like, oh yeah, don't worry. I have the base of Maslow's hierarchies of needs completely covered by the state due to me only having the functional use of one limb thanks to a spontaneous brain hemorrhage I suffered as a teenager. My Section 8 apartment is huge with a garage. Can you even drive, though? I enjoy the solitude, but I have no internal or external source of validation, despite knowing I'm capable of more, and have what I call the curse of cognition, my retained above average intelligence, which has only enabled me to observe all the things I miss out on due to my crippling disability. Live on my own, but need care a few times throughout the day. I've worked hard to gain this independence by relearning first how to reopen my left eye, read, eat, and speak, etc. Yeah. So appreciate your health, guys. That's why I went and got my echocardiogram. I might go get a brain scan too, make sure that, hey, is there anything look like it's going to clog? And then I'm like, not talking. Unfortunately, I was lied to by a neurosurgeon and given an overly optimistic prognosis that led me to spurn a career that could accommodate my disability. All right, stop. Why can't you do that? Why can't you continue to do that? If it would accommodate your disability, why are you doing that now? I mean, okay, the neurosurgeon screwed you up, but why? The career is still there, right? In favor of pursuing recovery full-time after graduating high school. Oh, you didn't do the from. Oh, God darn it. Yeah, I know, guys. I know. Recovery full-time after graduating high school with a 3.5 thanks to online classes that didn't even count towards my GPA. I was highly motivated when I still lived with my mom to escape dependency, but now I live so luxuriously thanks to the state after waiting 4 years behind single mothers to get a housing voucher that I can't figure out anything worth doing. What about the career? You just said you had a career you could do with this disability. Go do it. I have a website design and Facebook advertising business with one client who I undercharge not to impact my benefits. Okay, there's the irony of the welfare state. But yes, I see if you could trade, like barter. Because here's the thing, dude. I don't think me or anyone here, even my most right-wing listeners and my right-wing friends, I don't think one person is going to be upset that you're collecting some kind of benefits and health and Section 8 housing. I think with one person who has one eye open and has the use of one limb, you didn't even tell me what limb it was. I think we're all like, yeah, I'll pay the extra couple cents to have that guy survive. When you have, Becky, single slut soccer mom extraordinaire, voted 5 times running 2020 with her 4th child from her 3rd deadbeat dad, that's where we get pissed off. But if you have any latent guilt about collecting a government check, don't knock it off. More than everybody is happy to pay for this, man. More than anybody. But your question isn't necessarily that. It's more existential. Because an LLC is pass-through income, anything I charge above my allowable earned income has to be reported, is deducted from my benefits, is therefore like working for nothing. Yeah. So find ways. Hey, you could become the cripple CPA, huh? You help other people, like, okay, here's the problem. We got all this cash coming in from the feds, right? I'm imagining a mafioso type of situation. Everyone's smoking cigarettes, very dark. Someone's got a baseball bat. All right, but we got to figure out a way to shell all this money. Well, we'll set up the Cripple Trust. All right, the Cripple Trust. And all the money will go there. We can withdraw from it as a community. It'll be set up as a nonprofit. I don't know, maybe that's an idea. Deducted from FM. Despite this, I feel empty, and dating is hard enough for the average guy who isn't in a wheelchair with effective quadriplegia. I'm in a contest with every able-bodied man, so I found myself largely disqualified despite my pretty face, witty humor. No, you're out. You're out. Let's just save you some future struggle, pain, agony, and frustration. No girl, practically, no girl is going to want to fuck you. Now, there are arguments counter to that. If you ever turn into the Dick Show, he has a regular on called Crippled Jesus. Sounds like he's kind of in the same scenario you are. He's actually crippled. Even he got laid. Now, of course, I think he had to pay for it. So there's a way you could do that is just pay for it. Stephen Hawking, I believe, was married, but he wasn't married to a Playboy model. All right. So it is all relationships are based on physical attraction. You are crippled, right? And it's not your fault, but the vast majority of women are not going to be physically attracted to you because of, genetically speaking, they want to procreate with genes and their children to survive. And you being crippled is like, oh, wow. And it being it's not like you got in a car accident. You had a internal, whatever, disease, disorder, whatever. Their entire biology and genetic code is screaming, do not procreate with that guy. And so I would just put that is done. You cannot do that. Not until you are happy with yourself and at least got your mental game together where you're no longer sad and you got a point and a purpose and you're doing something. Now, you happen to go to a meetup group where other people who have similar physical conditions and also are crippled. And then you meet a gal that you really like. You try to become, okay, sure. But I would not be, dang it, I'm going to a nightclub and no girls are talking to me. It's like, that's just, if that's the case, just pay for it. Just pay for it. Legally, of course. I'm wondering if there's a way to barter that out so you can do work but lower your income by somehow directly transferring that to a lady of the evening. So no one cares about your pretty face, your witty humor and charm. They're worried about your body that is crippled. All right. So just don't even worry about girls no more. Don't worry about it. Sad to say, I crave that validation. It doesn't matter. I work out every day, or I'm 6 feet tall. My abs are below a pump in my stomach that flows medication in my spinal cord fluid. I can't stand without assistance, and I can only get so close to a woman from a power chair. So is it worth doing anything, or should I indulge myself with selfish hedonism and cope with the emptiness with chronic marijuana use, which I have so far quit this year? No, because the whatever drug it happens to be, booze, marijuana, actual heroin, you need to find point and purpose in life. And here, it doesn't matter that you're disabled, because as you astutely observed, and I wrote this in the book, Analyzing the ROI of the Pursuit of Women, the Book of Numbers, there are so few marriageable women. Even if you were not crippled, you would still have a near impossible challenge ahead of you. So I guess in that perspective, if there was a time to be crippled where you wouldn't be losing out on that much when it came to quality women, 2020 is the best. You could not have timed it any better because you're not missing out on that much. You really aren't. Right? Now, could it have been possible with work at a? Yes. And if you want, go read through chapter 12 of the Book of Numbers and see just what is required to attract a woman nowadays. But I would get over, like, you didn't really miss out on that much. Oh, darn, I didn't get on the Titanic. Darn, the Titanic, you're seeing the Titanic's going away. Dang it, I got my ticket. They was leaving Britain at the time. Oh, come on, maybe if I swim fast enough. Dang it, I missed. And then, like, I don't know, a week later, you find out, oh, it sank and everyone died. Glad I didn't get on that boat. But it's like every guy, you're genetically programmed to derive value from the woman you can get. And what we've been trying to do for many years now is convince all the guys out there, disabled or not, that it is not women that you will find happiness, joy, purpose, and meaning through in life. It is doing something. It is improving yourself. Now, What that improvement is, what that form of excellence is up to you, and is contingent on the individual. Like, as much as I'd like to be excellent at basketball, it's just not going to happen because I'm 5'9". As much as I don't know, a skinny rail friend you might have, he wants to be a sumo wrestler. Well, that ain't going to happen. And there's a lot of things off the plate for you as well because you're physically disabled. But that doesn't mean there isn't other things out there for you to do and pursue and achieve excellence. So you're going and you're doing some programming and web development. It's likely going to be within computers because you're capable of physical labor, and so it's going to have to be done through a computer. It could be accounting or something like that. It could be art. You could write, or it could be philosophy, and that's something you might want to consider because look again at Stephen Hawking. He was crippled. But the man was a genius, and he had point and purpose every morning to wake up. And we're going to talk about physics. I'm going to do some math. I'm going to think about the universe. And I think there's still a fair amount on the table. Plus, you want to talk about being born at the right time. Could you imagine if you were crippled and had this disability back in the 1920s, where there is no internet? You just got to sit there. Okay, you got books, and that was about it. Now you got television, internet, podcasting. There's another thing you could do. You could do podcasting, right? It won't make your limbs come back, but in points of time, point and purpose and things that, man, there's more on the table. There's more options on the table for disabled people today than there was ever before in the point of, although one could say because technology generally advances, you could say that of any point in time, but especially with the internet, you can work from home, you can have a career, you can do art, you could. And by art, I mean, you could, maybe you got a good singing voice. You could do art like entertainment and podcasting. You could do physics. You could do philosophy. Your brain is fine. It's just your body isn't. And so I'm sure Stephen Hawking must have had a book out there. Like, again, I've never been disabled. Lucky for me. I have no idea what it's like. Stephen Hawking probably did. I'm sure he must have had something to say about it. Something. And so there's got to be a book about him out there. One, hopefully he wrote himself about the philosophy of being disabled. But yeah, man. And here's the thing. You say, should I just go back to basically Vice? And God, it doesn't cure the problem. It only treats it. Because, I know I take that nice shot of Rumple Minze and it's just like you feel it burning down. And then in about 2 minutes, you're like, I don't have to worry about traffic. Like but then the booze is processed out and you're like, I got to do taxes. The problems never go away. And even if you weren't disabled, by the way, and you have point, purpose, and agency, you'll get it done. You're like, okay, what's next? Rollo Tomasi talks about this brilliantly. He says, every human will be discontent. And it's how do you deal with that discontentment? And there's only two ways. You either deal with it destructively and you destroy yourself, booze, pot, marijuana, drugs, risky behavior, or constructively, where you start a business, you write a book, Rollo's a perfect example of this again. He's written several books, but he's also in a band now. He rides his snowmobiles. It's a constant fight. So even if you were not disabled, this paradox, this existential question, this what's the point, or should I just do pot? Everybody's facing this, especially men, largely because women have been removed from the formula. And without a wife or kids, it's kind of like, well, what do you do? This is the biggest existential crisis and question facing men. I would say, well, I guess when the Nazis are trying to take over the world, the communists were, that was pretty big too. That might have, it'd be more important. But this is the biggest existential crisis facing men right now. Absolutely. Without love, without wives, without children, what do you do? And you got every right to go do pot, get on antidepressants, and everyone is. That's why all this antidepressant use is going up and anxiety and whatever else like that. Right? And you can do that. Go ahead. But it's not going to solve the problem. So you need something to do. And that I can't answer for you. I don't know what it is because I guess I don't know exactly what you are and are not capable of. But you wrote this very well. You write well. There's paragraphs, so you can type or maybe voice to text. I think you got a lot you can do. That instead of looking to another hit of marijuana, it's like, no, I'm going to write a post today. I'm going to do a podcast today. I'm gonna go whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you find out. I'm gonna program another website today. And it's not fun, it's not sexy. No, it ain't the girl saw. But it's something. Because the only other option, you got three options. Treat it with destructive behavior, constructively do something with the discontent, or kill yourself. And that just sucks. That's like the worst option because, like, well, you could do something. I mean, there's always something to do. And so I would say do it constructively. At least give it a shot and sit there, and by the way, this isn't like, oh, I always wanted to do this, I'm going to do it now. You got to sit down and figure this out, what you want to do. That unto itself will give you point and purpose and reason. So if you have the use of your hand, if you can write, grab a sheet of paper, just start jotting shit down, man. Just start jotting it down. No one does any strategic planning in their life. No one does. This is why I get people, I'm in my junior year of college. I have a year left. I'm $70,000 in debt. And I just decided I don't like my degree anymore. Like, well, why didn't you fucking research that first at 17 before, like, signing up for all this crap? Became a teacher. My first day at student teaching, I cried because I can't handle 7th grade boys. I never want to be a teacher again. Well, couldn't you have, like, student taught when you're in high school and maybe babysat some 7th graders? What, there wasn't an opportunity for that? So spend your time. This could be months long of a process, months long, but it'll give you something to focus on. And that's what I would do. Go ahead and figure out what you want to do in life and then execute on it and do it. So that'll give you point, purpose, and reason. But just so you know, the discontent never goes away. Never goes away. I went from being an attractive Tyrone light athlete to a bedridden without speech in an instant. And now I live with the disappointment of realizing that barring a miracle of modern medicine, I will likely never become the man I always envisioned and have spent the past years chasing. The peace layer. Oh, I see. Yeah, the peace layer, eventually off-grid, self-sufficient hermit. Well, we don't get what we want. And I know this is nowhere near comparable. I was going to be a great economist. And in some regards I am, but it didn't happen. And I don't think anybody's dreams ever come true. Yours, unfortunately, have been destroyed on so many different levels. But, it's one of the things where you got to listen to what the world wants you to do and also what you can do. And this happened, all right? You had that hemorrhage. It's not your fault. It happened. You can't dwell on the past because it happened. You can't change it. But you might as well make your future count as much as you possibly can. And so I whatever it is, man, I would go and do it. But yeah, try my way once. Just like do a month or two, just figuring out what you want to do every day. I mean, have some fun too. Maybe get outside, get the sun. I don't know if you're in cold climate or what. And then just start working on ideas, kind of like your LLC and your web design. It's a long, slow slog, but you'll inevitably find something. And just so you know, it won't guarantee you happiness. It'll just like, oh, there's something I can do with life. Okay, Wisco Nomad, $2. Can an average guy meet the girls in Miami? No, the average guy cannot. Well, you can meet them. You're not going to get, no. And the women we talk to are so far removed. Myron was not joking. It is that warped. It's a 90-10. It's a 90-10. I think the delivering blow was when all these girls were complaining about trying to meet a guy. And just for the client, by the way, okay, listen to this. Okay, this guy ain't even, and they're like, well, we know how to find a guy. I said, okay, I got two guys. I said, one guy, they both make roughly $150,000 a year. I said, what about this guy? And I mean, he's like, he's good looking. I said, he's 5'6". And all of them like, oh no. Like I had said, hey, do you want to eat this shit sandwich? Do you want me to give you the AIDS virus? Oh, no. I was like, okay, fine. So the average guy, which Elkins is above, no, they will not do well in Miami. Oh, speaking of, I tried to set up Fred, a superior man, for $1. He sent a super sticker. I don't know what it is. Fred again. I prefer skinny Christian gals. Kevin Samuels, boss. Kevin Samuel. Yeah, Kevin Samuel's a boss. Yeah, didn't you hear him? I never listened to the guy before. I would keep asking about him. I don't have time. Maybe I'll listen to him, but I just I've had an entire week of women talk. I really just want to listen to like philosophy or maybe nothing. But yeah, Kevin Samuels dominated in that podcast. He did real good. All right, that's it. questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. See you guys later. Toodles.